back to the channel co-creators. I'm mysticrainn, your resident internet psychic medium and spiritual advisor, and today we're going to be talking about the full moon in Aquarius. Or Capricorn, depending on where you're at in the world. So look, I'm going to try to get through this video quickly. I'm not trying to be here all day. I've got things to do, but let's give you the forecast and the rundown for what you're going to be experiencing for the full moon. So July 23rd is a full moon in Aquarius, depending on where you're at in the world. Okay, so hear me out. In the United States, it'll technically start as full moon in Capricorn and then move into Aquarius, right? If you are east of the United States, like if you're in Europe or Asia, it'll be in Aquarius already, right? So on the Eastern time zone for the US, right? So anyone that's not in the US that's like, think like New York in that time zone, right? Because that's the time zone I'm in. We go into our full moon technically in Capricorn at 10:37 p.m., but we roll into Aquarius. So you, if you're not in the United States, you watching this video, it will be full moon in Aquarius, okay? So this means a few things because you guys will have different symptoms, particularly in the body. So the full moon affects some people physically. So if you are in the United States, because of where we're at, you will experience like sore joints, particularly like issues with your knees, creaky knees, knee joints, and then also sensitive skin. So probably more acne, more pimples, blackheads, things like that. People that are east of the United States, so Europe and over, you're going to have issues with the legs, right? So think circulations in the legs, issues with that. Make sure you walk carefully. You're going to feel a little bit more clumsy, and also be sure to not injure your feet or your ankles. Try not to break anything down there during this particular time because it may take a little bit longer to heal. What you're going to be feeling, because you're getting that Aquarian energy, which is a little bit rebellious, right? You're going to be feeling a need for freedom, particularly emotional freedom, because it's the moon in Aquarius. So you're just going to be feeling most likely like random urges to run for it, man. Like whenever you feel a little bit overwhelmed, you'll have like blips in where you're like, I'm just going to take off. Like I feel like I can make it this far and like no one's going to know about it. I'm leaving, man. Like I'm moving, I'm getting out of here. Like you're just going to have the need for speed and you're going to be trying to get out of there, right? You're also going to be more aware of sort of group dynamics and social structures. So where the full moon is in Aquarius, but all of that is sitting in our 11th house. So the 11th house is a house of friendship. It's the house of membership. It's the house of groups. So it's going to be really highlighted in that particular area. So you're going to be more aware of sort of group dynamics and social structures. You're probably going to be looking at your friend group and scrutinizing it a little bit more, whether or not you like the structure or you don't. Maybe you like your friend group, so at that time you'll be more appreciative of them. Maybe you'll feel more loving towards your friends and your friend group, or maybe you'll feel like you don't like how they're treating each other. Maybe they're arguing too much and you don't like that, and so you want to fix it, or you want to call people out on their crap, like whatever. You're going to be looking at the structure and the social structures behind that and trying to figure out a way of how to harmonize that if you feel like it's already not harmonized at that time. You're also going to be really sensitive when it comes to issues of various aspects of social justice and also fairness between people, how people are treating each other. It's going to be harmony, group dynamics, and like that harmony within the group dynamics. You will also feel the need to hang out with your friends, particularly if you're an extrovert. You're going to feel a lot of that more so this time, but it's going to have more of an emotional attachment. You're going to feel like, you know, when you start to feel down, you're going to feel like a heavier, more intense urge to hang out with your friends and be around your friends, to go out, socialize, and stuff like that. You're just going to want to be around them more. For our people that like parties or like gatherings or like to plan them, you're going to feel this urge to want to do that. I'm not particularly okay with this because we are still in a panoramic, but like whatever, do you, that's how you're going to be feeling. Neptune at this time is sitting in Pisces. And again, that's just going to make you extra sensitive, and it's going to be more so sensitive with the need for harmony. So it's going to be less like deep emotional and like crying sensitive, but like you're gonna feel this need of just wanting everyone to get along with each other. It's gonna be this need of like, why do we have to argue? Why do we have to fight? Like if some of you have been in a long fight with someone up until this point, like a friend of yours or something, at this point, you're going to be like, whatever. Like, I just don't feel like it's that big of a deal. Like, let's let it go. Let's move on. Like, I just don't think that this is serious. Like, come on now. Let's grow up. Like, you're just going to feel this need to like quash issues because you just don't want to carry it out any further than what you feel like it needs to be. Mostly because it's like a humanitarian time, right? You're just gonna feel like, oh, like humanity, you want everyone to get along, you want everything to get along, you want beings to get along, like animals, right? Those of you that are really big on animals, that are really in touch with animals, that have pets at home, that have really special bonds with your pets at home, you're also going to feel a more intense need for that kind of structure, with bonding with them, with holding them, with petting them. Maybe some of you before was like, oh, I think I'll want an animal or something like that. Some of you are going to have intense urges to just randomly run out and go get one or adopt one or something like that. Also, because this is a humanitarian time and a time that's focused on things like social justice and group structures and group dynamics, you're going to see a lot of people trying to organize different protests during this time. A lot of organizing is going to be happening in order to bring down the structure. People that have jobs where maybe the job isn't very harmonious, so there's a lot of people arguing on the job, or maybe your whole team hates your boss or whatever. I wouldn't be surprised if this time people start kind of conspiring in the job, like talking of like, how am I going to get this person out? How are we going to solve this problem? Like people like, like co-conspirators, okay? Planets may be more or less balanced. Okay, so in my notes, I have planets may be more or less balanced. So when I was checking out what we had going on, like what was in moon signs, what was in what was in earth signs, what was in water signs, what was in air signs, stuff like that. What I saw is that it's actually balanced. So there's an equal amount of planets in water signs as there are to earth signs. There's an equal amount of planets to air signs as there are to fire signs. And what that tells me is that this moon is actually going to be a fairly balanced moon. It's going to be a moon where people are doing this and kind of weighing things out emotionally, because again, it's going to be concerned with like the harmony of group structures and the group dynamics. And so people are going to be doing this to try to figure out how to find that balance and how to find that harmony in those different structures. I also want you guys to remember that Chiron is still in the first house. So Chiron is it's a comet. It's not an actual planet, but it's an asteroid. And Chiron is known as like that wounded healer planet. It's all of our, what I call our childhood issues, right? All the baggage that we've been collecting since around the time of 7, 8 years old up until adulthood is what Chiron carries. It's all of the stuff that we need to work on in our adulthood in order to heal. It's that wounded planet. And the thing is, Chiron is sitting in the first house. The house is our outward expression, right? So when you have your wounds tied to your outward expression of self, what ends up happening is it starts to create identity issues. So as you're going through this phase, particularly as this moon, remember that Chiron is still in the first house, because it's been, it may be retrograde now. Anyway, I forgot, I have to check, but it's in the first house, which means you're going to have identity issues, some issues around existential crisis, but this is going to be tied more so into the moon and group dynamics. So what you're going to notice is that you're going to have more questions about yourself, about like, where do I fit in this group? How do I see myself here? When it comes to work, you're going to be thinking, how do I move up in this establishment? How do I establish myself in this establishment? Like, how do I establish self in this particular group dynamic? That's going to be a lot of what you are going to be thinking about. When it comes to this, though, to this group dynamics, I actually have homework for you guys. For all of you guys that like to journal and everything around the full moon, and you like to reflect and whatever, I personally prefer to just drink wine and mind my business. But for those of you that like to be productive in your spirituality, my prompt for you is, how do you be a better friend? Because we're going to be focusing on social dynamics during this particular moon. Ask yourself, how are you contributing positively and to the balance and harmony of the social dynamics that you currently exist in? How could you be a better friend to others? So I hope this video is helpful. If you too would like to have your own astrology reading, so if you want a birth chart, if you want a compatibility chart, whatever, check out the links in the description box below. As always, if you like what you see, please subscribe to this channel. Check out the bell below and click that thing for me, please. And actually, you know what? Can you please subscribe? I try to be nice about it because there's like 65% of you that be over here lurking. You're lurking. I know my analytics, okay? And none of you subscribe to this channel. Like, help a girl out. Like, I'm really over here putting in work, okay? Toodles.